round 10 of Suncorp Super Netball. We are here on Wurundjeri Country at John Cain Arena as we prepare for this top four clash between the Melbourne Vixens and the Adelaide Thunderbirds. I'm Yankee Chatfield, and joining me in commentary on Fox Netball, Maddie Brown and Caitlin Bassett. The history between these two teams is electric. Will the Vixens maintain their unbeaten run here at home, or the Thunderbirds take another win? The Thunderbirds, let's take a look, Maddie, at their team cards, how they're lining up.
Obviously, we see missing Dwan there. Georgie Horges moving from wing attack to goal attack. Macy Nankerville coming into the mix and getting that starting wing attack position. The defensive lineup, we've talked about how strong they are from wing defence to goalkeeper. I'm sure they're going to be injecting some of that energy straight away to get their hand on ball.
And as we see the Melbourne Vixens called out onto court, the change in the mid-court, Hannah Mundy, wing attack, Liz Watson into the centre, and Kate Maloney onto wing defence, and also Emily Mannix getting another start. We've seen Olivia Lewis in that goalkeeper position. We're expecting over 7,000 people here at John Cain Arena. Really does help the Melbourne Vixens. They are unbeaten on this court, but the Thunderbirds have been in brilliant form. And the Thunderbirds, through Taylor Williams, will get us underway and get us started. It's Saturday night netball. Here we go.
One, two straight in. That's a confidence boost for the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Watson to Austin. Patient from the Vixens. And a steal away through Williams. The Thunderbirds into attack. Cardwell swings it across the circle. Confident play from Georgie Horges.
Look, just getting that nice settle there, first goal. Both goals getting on the board. Another centre pass here for the Thunderbirds. It's the level of intensity here sitting courtside from the Vixens in defence. They're up and about, their hands over every pass, but it's trying to nullify their own player first. As you see, they get a nice little tip there.
Matilda Garrett will be thinking, what was I looking at then?
Although it's round 10, just a few little mistakes there. But I'm sure it's quite nerve-wracking because they're edging to that final stage of the season and they want to make sure they're putting consistent. Shamira Sterling, the first one I'm sure we're going to call for the day.
We spoke about that in the pre-game, about that aerial ball lifted over the top of Sterling. Doesn't often work. Nankerville and Mundy just shirt-fronted. Horges tries the same thing. This time it works. Nankerville balks one way. The Thunderbirds really want to play it on quick. Here's our Harvey Norman replay. Shamira Sterling made sure she was in the right position.
It was really good play by the Vixens there. Really short, sharp, angled work. Plenty of options.
And the Vixens now on the scoreboard. Horges looks long, back to Williams.
Horges really threatening with the ball in hand to look straight over the top into Cardwell. Why not? She's so dominant, and if she's got that space on the baseline to let it go, taking Mannix's strength away, that aerial ball, it's a good start.
Mundy, strong take on the centre pass. Really wanting to get the Vixens going quickly. And Kira Austin enters the game, her first one. It's a hold call against Emily Mannix. Horges. Oh, I thought she was going to go to the shot.
No, I think they're going to work that nice short one, confirmedly efficient shot there from Cardwell.
The coaching staff of the Adelaide Thunderbirds watching on. Maloney in wing defence.
Really good pressure here from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. You can see Horges and Nankerville kind of working that transverse line, making it really hard for the Vixens to penetrate into their attack end.
Kumwenda can't get balance, goes back out. Austin has shot the buzzer beater the last 2 games for the Vixens to win by 1. Cardwell, strong presence in the circle for the Thunderbirds.
Well done, Emily Mannix. So close. She read that. She came up a little bit on the hold a bit early for me. Cardwell needs to hold that space and let the ball sit above her head before she comes off.
Williams, easy one to Cardwell. And the first miss for Cardwell. And the Vixens get away quickly.
It's the luxury of having a Watson in the middle. Usually you see her link up from wing attack with that defence end, but she's just that backup option for them in the centre when she's filling. It's not a bad luxury to have for the Vixens, I don't think.
They sure have options. Both of these teams have plenty of options on their bench. The Thunderbirds not as strong as what we usually see, with Tipper Dwan out and Hannah Petty, their captain, also out.
When in doubt, just place it up in the air.
We talked about this scintillating matchup pre-game. Kumwenda and Sterling and Austin. Defensively, another pickup to her name.
We've mentioned over the years with Thunderbirds they've struggled sometimes on gained ball. Ours a missed shot there. Who's going to pick it up? Matilda Garrett's first to it with their transition, so hopefully they can rectify it on this one. They were very one out, only one option to the ball. They need those multiple options on length, on width.
Have a look at the Harvey Norman replay. Kira Austin sneaks in just there for backup. Jo Weston putting an enormous amount of pressure on Georgie Hoare. Just keep an eye on that matchup. Bit of confusion as to where and what is happening. Good girl, Ellie. Tracy Neville, the former English Roses coach and assistant coach for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Borges controlling the play, doing a huge amount of work.
She's getting in the centre pass and then every second pass. It would be great to see her maybe give Nankiville the line rather than having 2 over on the transverse line. Get a little bit more depth, because I think if she has to continue to do that amount of workload out the front as the game goes on, she'll definitely start to tire.
And of course, Georgie Horges has started every game for the Thunderbirds at wing attack. So very different for her to be starting at goal attack.
She avoids running into that circle. Now she's saying get in there.
2-goal lead to the Adelaide Thunderbirds. 8 minutes to play in the first. Up and over the top, and Emily Mannix has a field day with it in the air.
Space just wasn't really confirmed as to where the hold was. Good screen there by Cardwell.
Confident shooting from Georgie Horges. Only 21 years of age, dominating Suncorp Super Netball.
Great depth by Mundy there, that second phase. We've seen a lot of teams actually go back to the centre or the wing defence and use a lateral pass, which is great to see. Austin a little bit off today, whether it's that hands over pressure.
Wilson to Nankiville. A lot of lateral passing for the Thunderbirds. Borges breaks open the Vixens defenders. And a strong take from Cardwell, just sneaks it in.
It's hard to believe that there's even 4 goals difference, because it really feels like it's back and forth here.
Look at the Harvey Norman replay. No wonder the Thunderbirds are #1 for rebounds.
Lucky take there by Nankiville.
Really hesitant. Kira Austin, another steal. such an asset to the Melbourne Vixens, her defensive game, but gives it straight back to Shamira Sterling. You can feel the pressure is on both teams. Uncharacteristic mistakes early, and another one.
Real defensive pressure from both of them, setting that intensity, being quite aggressive, contesting lots of ball. Vixens only had 9 games as a total in a game last week. Matilda Garrett gets her hand in there. They're already sitting on 6, so real defensive, strong pressure here.
A very different Vixens that have shown up to this game. Simone McInnes would have had them watching a lot of videos, no doubt. There's Simone on your screen. Di Honey, the assistant coach, next to her. Horges swoops around.
Unlucky there for Jo Weston. She was calling for the contact, but unfortunately you put the ball out of court, Jo.
And Mannix goes flying, not enough. As Cardwell lines up. Let's go across to Caitlin Bassett.
Yeah, look, guys, I'm actually learning so much from Tracy Neville on the sideline about some of the moves that Caldwell is making out there, which is fantastic. But what I'm really loving from the Thunderbirds is that punch that Maisie Nankerville is creating on the centre pass. She hasn't started the game this year, so seeing her in that wing attack position, it's great to see her taking her opportunities, punching, which then creates space for Horges and the rest of the team to work the ball down.
Well, it is 5 goals, the difference. The Melbourne Vixens have called a HCF tactical timeout. We're going to take a listen in to hear their coach, Simone McInnes.
Strong on that last game, right? Just calm, just calm. And just bring it in. There was some great movement and hitting that circle. Just keep giving that little one, that first one that's on there. Can we make sure not to get mismatched on the centre pass? So you'll stay on the goal attack, stay on the wing defence, all right? Good end, work, get off the body, get around in front. If you're coming back to help him, don't come off that front. But give yourself some space on it. But we've got some good ball. We've only scored off one of them though. So let's get that finished, guys. Let's go.
Let's go. I reckon we just need to take a breath out there. You know what? We're getting ball. We're getting the circle edge. Let's just finish it off, get it through. It's 6,000, fire back, goal by goal. Come on, lift the intensity, fix something.
Quite vocal, Kate Maloney, the co-captain of the Melbourne Vixens. No surprises there. Simone McInnes saying they've only scored off one of their games so far.
It's that rush of blood when you do get that turnover to be quite calm and composed.
Maloney streams down court, but the Thunderbirds interrupt play. Williams to Garrett. You can hear the Power 5 siren in the background now. Scores in the white arc, worth 2. Nankerville, Horges.
Low scoring here for the Vixens in the first 10 minutes.
Can they have an impact on the scoreboard? Weston to Watson. Kumwenda, she's out to find another option. Bit of confusion from both umpires there, whose throw-in it was.
That low ball seems to be the option, obviously, to keep it out of the air from Sterling and Garrett. But sometimes they're too low on the ground.
Kumwenda sinks her first Suncorp super shot for the game. Let's go across to Caitlin Bassett. What were you hearing from the Thunderbirds huddle?
Yeah, interesting to have a listen to that huddle. Although Petty, their captain, is out, the leadership that Cardwell brings to this attacking end is just absolutely incredible. She was the one doing the bulk of the talking. She is the one giving her attacking end confidence, and she's out there putting her hand up and saying, I want the ball, which I think it's fantastic to see. I just can't wait to see how Emily Mannix reacts to this.
The Thunderbirds take their lead out to 4. And we see the shooting stats on screen. 88% for Cardwell, 80% for Georgie Horges. Maloney struggling to find a clear option. Watson to Mundy. A lot of movement from Michael Mwenda.
It is, she's out of the circle a lot. punching up through the middle. Be great to see her getting into that zone and working the try-ons within, obviously with Austin, leaving that space out the front. Austin for a fair super shot. She only scored 4 out of 11 in round 5. I'm sure she's going to want to rectify that result today.
Brings the Vixens back within 2. We've got 2 minutes 45 to play in the first. Plenty of time.
I love this from shooters. It's like when I see it down one end, the second I get the ball in my hand, I'm going to have a go myself.
Oh, and Cardwell can't finish it off. The desperation on the Vixens to try and get it. They couldn't pull it in. They reset again. Nankivell. Joe Weston. It was an obvious pass.
That ball too high in the air. It needs to be placed just in front of that space.
See the Harvey Norman replay. Weston timed it beautifully, as did Latanya Wilson. She's looking for those lateral passes. 2 goals the difference. This time it's up and over the top to Cardwell.
Paul just doing a lot of work out the front, leaving that space and isolation for Cardwell in the circle. Maybe Watson or Weston, sorry, should drop back. Harvey Norman replay here. Latanya Wilson comes through. That beautiful feed from Horges as well.
Watson, Kumwenda for 2. Austin for 2. And now they opt for 1. 2 goals the difference. And just over a minute in the first.
I love the starting position from Horges. She was deep, but she's been drawn up to try and help carry this ball down. Good defence there by Weston, covering that sweeping move.
Up and over the top again to Cardwell. Horges is really taking the Vixens defenders, giving them something to look at, opening it up at the back. Mundy, cross to Watson.
Kumwenda, she's so good at the 2-point shot, but not confident enough right now to take it. I feel like teams should really try in the first couple of quarters rather than leading it to the end, but then they're known for that, so why not?
2 goals the difference. Maddox goes flying. The pressure is on. Nankivell.
Sitting back into the box, holding up high. See both defenders sitting in the 2-point.
They know all shooters on the court are lethal. All shooters on the court can shoot 2s. And that's our first quarter done. It's the Thunderbirds by 3. What an incredible game we have on our hands here. And don't forget, coming up on Pivot tomorrow, Cara Conan will be our guest. We know, disturbingly, she hurt herself in the final quarter of their game against the Giants. Hopefully, we will see her on the couch on Pivot.
Welcome back to John Cain Arena. I'm here with injured Thunderbirds player Tipper Dwan. Tipper, we saw you leave the court last week against Firebirds. Tell us what's the update on the ankle injury.
Oh, it's definitely not as bad as it looked on last weekend, but hopefully I'll be back next week, ready to go.
And your team's currently up by 3 goals. Tell us what's impressed you the most in this first quarter.
Oh, I think G's just, gone seamlessly into that goal attack position, and Maisie's doing a really good job on the centre pass as well, so hopefully they can keep that up.
And this crowd, it's wearing pink, but it's not for you guys today. They're going to be absolutely ferocious come the back half of the game. What does your team need to do to get over the line?
I know, it looks like we have a lot of fans in the crowd, which is good, but it's a very defensive game right now, so hopefully the girls can pick up a few more balls and we can score off of them.
Thanks for joining us, Tip.
Thank you.
That was quarter time, brought to you by Origin Energy. Maddie, what do you think the Vixens need to do?
Well, they spoke about in their huddle about excellent full court defensive pressure, so they want to continue to build on that. But they've had a lot of game balls, but not converted a lot, only sitting at 22% of conversion. So they're going to want to rectify that. When they get the opportunities, make it count.
Great to hear that Tipper Dwan's injury was not as bad as it looked, because that sure did look nasty.
Yeah, look, I'm not for an ankle looking 90 degrees at all. Thank you.
Williams. Cardwell for her first for the second quarter. When we talk about second quarters, the Vixens, they've only won 1 second quarter, whereas the Thunderbirds, that's where they're the most dominant.
Well, this is going to tell, I guess, going into halftime where both teams are at. I think the Vixens need to hold on here, work it really short and sharp in attack. They've been good not giving too much ball away, but they need to make sure they pull it in here.
Just as you mentioned that, Wilson comes in for a pickup.
Commentator's curse.
Horges up and over the top to Cardwell. That connection seems to be getting stronger and stronger.
It's that space that they're obviously isolating Cardwell in the circle, allowing her that space to move. That nice elevated high pass again from Horges. Might be time for the Vixens to actually bring back a double defence. If Horges is out of the circle, she's not going to shoot it there. She's not your threat to come back, double defend.
Cardwell, she's out, bounces to Williams. Strong pressure, look at the physicality. It's a feisty matchup when Cardwell and Weston are standing against each other.
It's a great long-range shot from Horges. Why not take it? You've got such strong rebounding power down there with Allen or Cardwell.
And just like that, the Thunderbirds are out by 6. Watson uses the middle channel to her advantage. Over the top, not enough on it. Garrett with the deflection.
Both shooters being pulled wide from the Thunderbirds' defence there. Gwenda really far away from the post. That's better, the short 1-to-1.
As you can see, our Newson net point leaders, Latanya Wilson, sitting at 36, followed by Sterling, the only Vixen in the top 5, Joe Weston at the moment. And last time these two teams played, it was Latanya Wilson that was the standout. Horges misses it, Weston comes up with it.
We heard Coach Mo McInnes talk about this with the Vixens. This is where they need to capitalise. Yes, that was a bit too long.
The stressful faces of the Vixens coaching staff.
Mannix just looked down court and it looked like a sea of pink.
Yes.
There was not a lot of options there from her Vixens teammates.
The penalty to be taken inside. Horges bounces it down to Nankiville. What options come open? Mannix has really started off this game well. Already she's got 4 deflections to her name. They're just not able to capitalise on the scoreboard.
And we know when you're coming up against a really strong shooter, you're not going to have an impact for the whole 60 minutes. So when you do get those gains, it's about the other end converting and kind of rewarding those really good tips, because you're not going to get a lot. So Vixens really need to convert this ball and utilise this centre pass to put the pressure back on the Thunderbirds at the moment.
4 goals the difference at John Cain Arena. Almost 7,000 Vixens fans and some Thunderbirds, but plenty of pink in support of BCNA. The breast cancer research, because they are the charity partner for the Melbourne Vixens, and you'll see the pink lady all around. There's the beanies that you can buy, and plenty of grassroots clubs and associations are getting involved. Nankiville, not enough on it. Mannix, brilliant play and positioning.
The feed was off, but so was the hold. I think Mannix is doing really well in getting off the body, using her footwork and making it that confusing space to where the feed should actually go.
Austin finds Kumwenda. They're both out. And a double dodge from Kumwenda takes away the pressure, and Austin brings the Vixens back to within 2. It's a HCF tactical timeout. called by the Thunderbirds. You get the sense they could feel the Vixens and the momentum changing. We're going to try and take a listen into their coach, Tanya Robbs.
That's some really good stuff. We just need to look at that final phase. What does it look like? I reckon you've got to get on the move a little bit, as in don't be taking it from a stationary position. Yeah, and we put that ball into high and then into space.
See where the man is that, yeah.
Yep. Hey, there's some really great stuff there, all right? We're just talking 1%ers here, all right? Great stuff on the short. Yeah, yep.
I'll come out a little bit more. I'll get that race behind you.
Maybe even look at one touch and then you get in, just to mix it up a little bit, yeah? Or even, like, maybe look at goal attack box, this centre pass, but then have a look at maybe a stump.
Let's go, ladies, and bring the intensity up again, okay? There's a few errors. Let's get rid of them. Be nice and simple and smiles on our faces. Let's go. Zero's on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hit it!
Eleanor Cardwell taking charge of the Thunderbirds huddle. Been any changes, Maddie?
No, I would have thought maybe Austin might have been injected because that feed was a little bit short, but I would love to see some balks there from Nankiville to see where Mannix moves and then feeding into the space.
Strong drive from Mundy. Even stronger pass to Austin. 1 goal in it. We've got just under 10 to play in this first half. Remember, the Adelaide Thunderbirds sitting top of the table. The Melbourne Vixens at 4th. You get the feeling this could be a finals clash that we might see later on in the season.
Yeah, I picked these two right at this current point in time to be at John Cain Arena on the 8th of July in the grand final.
Let's get across to Caitlin. What are you noticing with the Vixens attack?
Well, it's just interesting. Shamira Sterling picks up a beautiful intercept there. Simone McInnes telling her team, fast but controlled in their attacking end. Wow, what a huge clash happening just right in front of me. Nazy Nankiville going up. Jo Weston collecting her on the way through. Court needs to be wiped. Not surprisingly, no players out here is giving each other any inch of room. It's fantastic to see. What I am loving, though, in the Vixens attacking end is their shooters are starting to protect each other underneath the post. So they're setting up some screens for one another. They're letting the ball go. And best of all, on the shot, one of the other shooters is getting to stop the damage of those beautiful long arms from both Jamaican defenders.
You start to think that was a lesson they would have learnt from round 5, Caitlin. Protecting each other for the shot. Cardwell needs no protection to take the Thunderbirds out. 3 goals the difference.
That's better depth.
Horges. Back to Nankiville.
Bit of miscommunication there. Cardwell coming out. We've seen her such a focal point at the post. Let Horges come in, or if she's coming out, we need to see Horges back to the post. A little bit of disconnect, obviously, with those changes, different positions, but the Thunderbirds still looking very strong in that attack end.
Thunderbirds, 60% of the time, the ball has been in their hands. Kumwenda spinning around to find an option. Austin. Horges. Cardwell breaks open the middle. Vixens coaches to the bottom of your screen.
This Thunderbird mid-court is absolutely owning the top of the circle.
Top. Post them.
Horges. Mannix, I'm not sure if that was a shot or a pass, but Mannix, she was all over it.
What's impressed me about Mannix is her footwork coming, as I said, off that body, creating that frustration, that confusion. And her elevation, she's just been so deceptive, and that's a better reward from the Vixens. You see on the Harvey Norman replay.
It's definitely a pass.
A little bit from behind, but gets that tip.
And it's a HCF tactical timeout called by the Melbourne Vixens. Emily Mannix, it has been an impressive display. Her attack on the ball and grabbing it out of the air with such urgency is probably what she was lacking at the start of the season.
The ball movement and letting it go. When we keep that movement on the ball and working, it's looking good. Great stuff, Em, in that circle. So Kenny's coming onto goal defence. That's big kipper. Good stuff. No, that's there. One hand, that's all right, but there's some great movement and great options down there. So let's go. Good stuff. Just be aware, stay in play on the outside of that circle. Don't give them the body, don't give them the body. Get off the body, don't give it, and stay in play. Good stuff.
I don't like professionalism. Yeah. We have to work against the part and low, that's fine, and then that one's going to open if we keep doing it.
You've got the confidence to give those balls through the court they're on.
Great back centre. We came out that time out really well and we're staying this one. It's a three!
Let's go straight across to Caitlin Bassett. You've got an update on Joe Weston.
Yeah, well, interesting. That timeout was called by Joe Weston. She left the court immediately. The doctor and the physio followed her. They've gone around the corner. She's having some treatment just behind the stadium. We see Kate Eddy put that goal defence bib on. So not sure what's happening with Joe Weston, but wouldn't be surprised to see her back out there. She might just be getting a little tweak, getting back on their court. It could have been from that knock that she had with Maisie Nankerville.
Certainly was a ferocious knock in the air. Caitlin Bassett will get you running around on the sidelines to find out as much as you can. Kate Eddy into goal defence, not where we usually see her, but also she has played here before for the Vixens.
Yes, she gets a nice rejection there. You'd think she plays there all the time, Bianca.
What an opening couple of seconds for Kate Eddy. A block shot to her name. She'll be very happy with that. Look at that, 12 games so far to the Vixens, 9 to the Thunderbirds. It's that we're usually seeing the Thunderbirds dominate. Well, they do dominate the rebounds as Shamira Sterling juggles to keep it in.
Sterling been quite contained a little bit. Her energy's a little bit flat and low from obviously visual from the side of the court. You usually see a little bit more emotion. Expect she might come out firing in that second half.
Look at the Harvey Norman replay there. Kate Eddy.
Timing was exceptional.
A quick one from Cardwell. And the Thunderbirds out by 2. Just over 5.5 minutes to play in the second. Watson, quick one to Austin on the baseline.
That ball speed from the Vixens is exactly what they need to continue to replicate every time they get that option down in that attack end. 1, 2, 3, punching forward. And working those angles rather than that lateral ball.
Williams from the top. Porges swings across, opens up Nankerville. Emily Mannix, outstanding footwork.
That connection between Nankerville and Cardwell just isn't quite there. We haven't seen it a lot throughout the season. I think maybe a Lucy Austin to goal shooter, Cardwell to goal attack, Porges to wing attack, just to bring it a bit more familiarity down to that T-Birds attack end.
For anyone watching Emily Mannix right now, it's 2 hands on every ball. They're always ending up in her possession. Austin, quick to Mundy. The Vixens firing it away. Scores are even. We're in the Power 5. Austin. Kumwenda for 2.
She was putting them up before the game and she rarely missed.
What can the Thunderbirds do? Vixens take the lead by 2. Williams. Porges, quick 1-2. She wants to as well. Steps across. Too much on it, and the ball ends up in the hands of Emily Mannix. A big smile on her face. What a first half it's been from Mannix.
Or Megs, as they call her, the Mega D. She's definitely out there today causing some havoc.
Mundy to Austin. Back to Austin. Austin shot. You can see Liz Watson in the middle just saying, everyone, calm down. We've got 3 minutes 15 to play in the first half. We spoke about this second quarter being a real hoodoo for the Vixens. They're currently leading the second quarter by 7. Now 9.
There's no better way to beat a team than beat them at their own game. And if the second quarter is where the Thunderbirds shine, that's where you want to absolutely nullify their impact on the game. And it's coming from the defensive pressure from the Vixens. They're contesting every ball. They're being in they're scrapping at all the loose balls. They're hunting in packs.
Nice little Fox reference there.
Pardon the pun.
Nankivell eventually gets it to Williams. Horges. Back to Nankivell. The Thunderbirds repositioning.
Mannix again comes up with the goods.
Mundy. Cross circle. Wilson gets a hand in. She gets the contact call. The crowd don't like it, but the Thunderbirds.
Looking at the NISA net point match leaders here, Mannix, Austin, Watson. Weston's not even on the court and she's still up there, but they've made a huge impact.
Matilda Garrett was tippy-toeing the sideline. Didn't have enough space. You can see Eleanor Cardwell is off the court talking to Tanya Robst. Shamira Sterling throwing her arms up at everything. What do you make of taking Cardwell off at this stage of the game?
I think it's all about the hold, as I've mentioned. It's about, as you can kind of hear a little bit in there, but she spoke about it in the huddle about coming off too early, but also being stationary. You need to run your ball on, you need to pull it in with 2 hands. You're just not holding that space enough. I do think the feed isn't coming in directly or correctly, but I have no doubt that she'll probably come back on maybe in that goal attack position, maybe push Horges out to wing attack at some point.
The Vixens take their lead out by 8. They are leading this second quarter by 10. Lucy Austin with the goal shooter bib on. Holding strongly, looking for the ball. Horges pops it over the top.
Horges, since that rejection from Eddie at the start, has been a little bit hesitant to put that long-range shot up. Looking to dish. She needs to start putting in some 2-pointers.
Mundy, quick and easy one to Kumwenda. The safe option on the baseline to Austin. Jo Weston getting her shoulder strut out the back, we believe. Horges Kate Eddie steals it out of the air. What an incredible second quarter. The Thunderbirds, they won the first quarter by 3, and a complete change in that second quarter. And now it's the Vixens leading at home at John Cain Arena by 8 goals. What a turnaround we've had from that round 5 clash to now.
This will be the interesting point for the Vixens. They had a lead last week against the Lightning, but the Lightning started to come back. So they need to reset at halftime and then come out firing with that same amount of energy, that same amount of pressure, reset, and obviously put that extra pressure.
Let's go across to Caitlin Bassett.
That's right. Hi, I'm down here with Georgie Horges. Georgie, great to see you back in goal attack. We saw you a lot there last year, not as much this season. Is it more pressure than wing attack?
No, I don't think so. It's just about doing a few different little movements and then shooting that goal at the end. So yeah, I'm loving it out there.
And normally you're watching Elle Cardwell from the outside. What's it like sharing the circle with her?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. She's very smart, playing very strong under the ring. So yeah, very lucky to have her.
Now, Vixens came out and absolutely blew away that second quarter. What does your team need to do if you're going to get the win?
I think we're getting plenty of ball from our defence end, so we just need to convert and play a bit smarter in our attack end.
Good luck.
Cool, thank you.
The Vixens, they're leading the way by 8 goals here in Melbourne. We've got a big halftime show coming up and a big Super Sunday of netball. The Swifts are hosting the Magpies, who'll be wanting to hit the court after a big week off it. And, of course, then it will be the West Coast Fever hosting the Queensland Firebirds. Will we see another upset, or will the Fever try and stamp their authority on the competition and try and take a top 2 position on the ladder? All on tomorrow, starting 1:30 p.m. All the action live and exclusive on Fox Netball. Welcome back to John Cain Arena. It's half-time here, and the Vixens absolutely dominating the scoreboard by 8. I'm not sure we're expecting it to be like that after the second quarter for the Vixens is often the hardest one for them. But the Thunderbirds, they've been in it. They won the first quarter. They've been dominant in some parts, but not across the whole game. What have you made of the first half?
Yeah, I thought at the first quarter it was back to and fro. There was a lot of little errors. It kind of went up and down the court multiple times, but it's the Vixens that have settled. They've shown their experience. They've started to utilise that game ball a lot more. And Emily Mannix, hasn't she been absolutely everywhere?
Well, we talk about the Thunderbirds and look at them in their meeting room. Tracy Neville is taking charge. There is the shoulder straps of Joe Weston. What have you made of that injury, Caitlin?
Yeah, interesting. It was surprising to see her come from the court. She bounced up really quickly after that clash she had with Nankerville, but obviously has done some damage to her shoulder. Straight away got some attention. She was getting strapped in the background. I've no doubt we'll see her back out there. She's one tough player. But I also think that Kate Eddy came out and did a fantastic job.
I mean, what a luxury for the Vixens to throw her on and get a rejection straight away in the game.
Let's take a look at the Thunderbirds attack. Caitlin, I'm going to come to you. What have you made so far of their performance?
Oh, look, that first 5 minutes, they were absolutely clinical. They had space, they let the ball go, they had real confidence in their attacking end. The second quarter, however, Vixens obviously had a bit of a chat and they said, look, we need to stop that depth. They really started clogging stuff up, getting some hands and some tips. That's what's really impressed me so far is the tip, the deflection, and then the pickup ability for the Vixens defenders at the moment. And I just don't think the Thunderbirds attackers have really adapted.
Yeah, there's a bit of disconnect there, isn't there? There's some different combinations than they're used to, and you can kind of see that playing out, obviously, in their attacking play.
Well, when we go to the other end of the court, it's the Vixens attack that they've been calm. It took them a little while, but they found that calmness, Maddie.
Yeah, they did, and it's their ball speed for me. When they get that ball moving around, they're using those triangles, they're using low, short, into the middle balls. There's just a different tempo. They're really, as I said, executing really well. I love seeing Mundy there. She's getting lots of depth for them on that second phase. So once they transition over that transverse line, they've got plenty of options to utilise. Kuenda got a little bit caught up that middle, but since she's been staying back at the post and really owning it, she's started to come alive and obviously show her dominance on the scoreboard as well.
And what you said in the pre-game, Caitlin, about Kumwenda, you wanted her on the move, you wanted her confusing the space for Sterling. You must be impressed with what you're seeing.
I think both of them are doing a great job as unit. Austin and Kumwenda, they're working to protect each other. When they catch the ball and turn quickly, that's a real bonus for them because it shifts the defender back, it gives them some space and some breathing room. And I'm really liking what's happening just between them, little shooter-to-shooter passes. They're looking for them and they're opening up that circle.
Well, we've spoken about Emily Mannix. Let's take a look at some of her highlights because she has been in everything. Deflection, she's been getting rebounds, she's been getting intercepts, and it doesn't matter who she's in partnership with, Kate Eddy or Joe Weston, it's working.
For me, it's been how, obviously off the body she's used really, really good footwork. She's only got 3 penalties, Caitlin, so she's been really clean even in her contest, but it's just about that confusion, moving around the body. As we said, there's been disconnect in that Thunderbirds attack end, and it's purely because they actually don't know where the space is being held because she's just moving around and flying.
I agree. I think when that ball is put up straight up in the air in a one-on-one, she will out-jump Cardwell every day, so they can't do that. It's funny hearing the coaches say they want her to meet Mannix's body, they want her to peel off, they want her taking the ball away from those long, beautiful, rangy arms.
So will we see Joe Weston back out on court?
Well, at the moment, I think you just stay as it is. They're quite stable. I think if you need to inject her, you obviously can. For me, it's more about the response of the Thunderbirds in this second half. They're not usually found themselves down by this much in game, so how do they pull through? What are the tools and strategies they're going to execute to make sure that they can come away with this win in the end?
Let's take a look at some of the stats so far for the first half, see what's been standing out.
Well, it's that shooting percentage for the Thunderbirds at 73%. You know, even talking about the gains, they've actually been converting their game ball, but their centre passes, that's where they're really falling short. They're only sitting at 56 conversion on the centre pass.
Yeah, interesting as well. I feel like the contact penalties are quite low for this calibre of two teams. They're going hard for the ball, but where the ball is being turned over is not necessarily because someone's contacting or obstructing someone. It's actually because someone's making a mistake because there is no free leads in front of them. So interesting to see how they're going to find some more space. I think more options, more attacking leads need to come. Potentially some more change of direction, some walking could free up some more space on court.
And even looking at that, the Thunderbirds only have 12 turnovers, but they're 8 behind. So they're not turning a lot of ball over, they're just not converting it enough.
Will we see any changes for the Adelaide Thunderbirds?
I think we need to obviously keep Austin on, and I think Cardwell on to goal attack and moving Porges out to the wing attack position would be my move.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a little bit of shuffling. We know that they can play a lot of different combinations. We've seen it in previous week. Tanya Obbs is not afraid to use her bench. So why not put them out there, put them against the Vixens, see what they can do under this pressure and to help claw this win back.
Well, these teams have brought so much already onto the court today. Woolworths met with our SSN stars off the court to find out how well they know their fruit and veg. Take a look at how they got on and be sure to get involved.
Welcome to the Woolies Pick Fresh, Play Fresh game. Buzzer beater question. When is the best time to eat a meal before your netball game? Joe Weston.
Ruth? An hour. Yeah, okay. We've locked in an hour before.
Okay. Eating a meal 1.5 to 2 hours.
That's what we were going to say.
Test your knowledge on the Woolworths Pick Fresh, Play Fresh Hub for your chance to win great prizes.
Great to have your company on this Saturday night in Melbourne. You're watching Fox Netball. Top 4 clash between the Melbourne Vixens and the Adelaide Thunderbirds. So far, it's the Vixens. They're out by 8 with a second half to come. We're going to go across the court to the Adelaide Thunderbirds coach, Tanya Obbs. Tanya, thank you for joining us. What have you made of the first half?
Well, it was a bit sort of sloppy for us in that second quarter. I think the Vixens obviously finished off that quarter really well. You know, I think we probably were a little bit wasteful with the ball and weren't reading the defender's body, and we found ourselves now 8 down.
Tanya, we saw you obviously pull Eleanor Cardwell off and have a little bit of word to her. Can you tell us what you were talking about? Was it the hold or was it the feed?
Oh, probably a combination of those. I think Maddie, you know, probably wanted Elle to be doing a little bit more moving and presenting outside the circle. Yeah, then bodying up when the ball was closer to the circle edge.
And defensively, we know how strong you are at getting turnover ball. How are you going to obviously nullify a movement of the ball from the Vixens to get that ball and obviously convert it?
I actually don't think that that's been too bad, in all honesty. I think they're really beating us in the 2-point game is where we've probably find ourselves in this position. So I think if we can tighten up that in that 5 minutes, that should hold us hopefully in good stead.
Thanks for joining us, Tanya. Enjoy the second half.
Thank you.
All the action is now underway. You heard it from Tanya. The access we get is so incredible on Fox Netball to get the coaches in the middle of the game. Tanya's saying the 2-point shot is costing them. Porges. Back to Williams. This time a little bit more on it. Mannix couldn't secure the ball. Austin with her first miss of the half. See Joe Weston on your screens. Shoulder strapped on the bike, warming up. And Austin gets her second for the game. No changes to the Vixens. Kate Eddy still out at goal defence.
I think it's a good move. The team settled as we see a miss there by Austin and a great defensive rebound from Matilda Garrett. If it's working, keep it out there. And then when you need that impact, Hannah Mundy coming through and getting a nice little tip there. And when you need that impact from Weston, then you can inject her straight back in. You've got that luxury.
There is Eleanor Cardwell. We did speak pre-game about the strapping on her knee. She only played 40 minutes last week. Potentially something to do with the injury, load management, or just preferring this option of Austin and Horges. Two young players for the Thunderbirds who know each other's game really well. They've grown up playing in the Netball SA pathways.
Also best friends. They would know what makes each other tick.
And we know Lucy Austin in her debut game against the Vixens last year absolutely dominated. Horges trying to get the play going. Finds Williams. Williams regathers her balance up and over the top. Again, Mannix, another deflection.
The shooters are really finding it hard where to angle their body, how to hold her off, and it's a credit to Mannix for getting off it, continue to work around. Georgie Horges at the front using that nice goal attack sweep. The little dish off. They really need to dominate this first 10 minutes of the quarter, Thunderbirds. They said they've been beating in the two-point shots, so stay close and then you might not have to be forced to take it as much.
Hands over pressure from the Vixens. Nankivell looks to go over. Finds Williams. Horges just sweeping around the front, taking control of that front space in the circle.
Bianca, we heard Tanya Obbs talk about that they're a bit sloppy. Do you think it's the pressure from the Vixens, or do you think it's an uncharacteristic of the Thunderbirds, or it's just one of those games for them?
I commentated the game in round 5, and this is a very different Melbourne Vixens that have shown up. A lot more intensity, a lot more speed, a lot more conviction on the ball. Let's get across to Caitlin Bassett. What are you noticing with the Thunderbirds bench?
Well, they're just looking a little bit frustrated. They're obviously vocal. Cardwell has actually come up now and talking to Obbs, so potentially see her back out in court in a minute. But Vixens defenders are definitely doing a good job of slowing it down. In the first quarter, the ball moved really freely in the attacking end, and I think it's the experience of the Vixens defenders doing a great job on the inexperience of the Thunderbirds attackers that's really shutting things down for them in their attacking end.
Yes, Cardwell on screen, goal attack bib now on.
I think that's a really good call by Caitlin too. I mean, we saw that shift in the Vixens mid-court, and maybe they were like, well, this is where we can absolutely own the game in the mid-court. We've got the experience, so why not put the pressure on the Thunderbirds? Maybe take charge of the game early on there.
6 goals the difference. 10 minutes to play in the third. And an easy one for Austin. 12 from 16 at 75%. Williams has to go over the top. This time there was more on it, but almost too much on it. Watson, straight to Maloney. And Austin, too much for her. Balancing and juggling.
Under pressure on the sideline, always a hard ball to take.
Great positioning from Matilda Garrett to block up the space.
I feel like both teams are trying to play at the same pace. I'd love to see a little bit more tempo change here. Chuck in a ball, reset, go again, use your L shapes, use some different angles to get to goal. It's like the T-Birds are trying to play exactly the way that the Vixens are, and it's just not working for them. A little bit of change of pace, I think, would work really well.
Whose responsibility is that out on court, Mads?
Well, I think it comes down to the experienced players on court, but definitely the centre. You've got most charge of the ball, walking back to the centre pass, just taking a moment to breathe, to re-centre and just restructure in attack and defence.
A strong jump over the shot from Garrett, but it's not enough to put Kira Austin off.
As we see, another bib change by Cardwell again. She had the goal shooter on, she's taken to the goal attack. Now she's putting the goal shooter on.
Are they just doing this to confuse us?
Yeah. Fun and games for the Thunderbirds.
Austin steps it in, calmly puts it through. There you can see Cardwell sitting next to Tyler Orr, who's come in for Hannah Petty.
Also see Joe Wesson standing in the substitute box with the goal defence bib on. Obviously Adelaide maybe drawing back that deficit, so they're bringing on the gun again.
And another confident shot from Kira Austin. The Vixens, they're out by 7. And if we take a look at the ladder, as the score stands right now, the Vixens will sneak their way up into second position. However, don't forget, we still have plenty of action to come tomorrow. The Swifts and the Magpies, the Fever and the Firebirds.
But both of these teams know how important it is.
Maddox, the deflection queen.
But both teams know how important it is for a home final berth, because both of them have strong crowds that get them over the line in close contact. Emily Mannix. I'm going to be sick of saying her name. No, never. Absolutely never. As you see on the Harvey Norman replay, was that deception, that 2 feet straight up.
She's rewarding Simone McInnes with the starting position. She did spend 2 games on the bench. Olivia Lewis came into that goalkeeper position, had an impact straight away. Mannix couldn't get herself back out on court, but she has certainly won her way back into the start the last 2 games.
We talk about deflections and we talk about intercepts, but she's had 5 intercepts. They're the opportunities that she's extra that she is giving the Vixens, compared to on the flip side, we've seen a very quiet game from Shamira Sterling. We're usually talking all about her.
And not very happy, Shamira Sterling. Let's go across to Caitlin Bassett. Is there any changes that you can see coming from the Thunderbirds?
Yeah, look, we've just seen a couple of changes there. Maisie Nankerville is now leaving the court for Georgie Horges, who popped off before, so Cardwell could come into goal attack. So they've shifted back into more of a traditional Thunderbirds lineup, which we've seen, and it's a good time to do it because they can't leak too many more goals and let Vixens get up by more than 8 goals if they want to stay in touch for this game.
And Mannix anticipates every single ball the Thunderbirds try and connect into their attack. Spectacular performance from Emily Mannix. And of course the defensive pressure across the court for the Vixens, as Kumwenda repays all the hard work. Austin back to find Maloney.
On that Harvey Norman replay, you just see the feed of Watson compared to the feed of Taylor Williams, putting it into that space. It just wasn't right execution by Williams. But she gets a nice opportunity here, a little pickup ball.
A flat-footed Adelaide Thunderbirds allowing Vixens the aerial game. 10 goals. The Vixens are out by 10. We're in the Power 5. This is when, as you heard Thunderbirds coach Tanya Obbs say, the Vixens are doing the most damage. How can the Thunderbirds nullify their impact?
Well, they've only tried one, the Thunderbirds, compared to, obviously, the Vixens 6.
A fumble you can't do out there against Emily Mannix right now, because she is going to snatch that up. Long, Watson finds Austin. Brilliant play from the Melbourne Vixens.
And this is dangerous Vixens territory. They gave up that lead last week. I don't think they're going to do it again. Not with this young lady on court, Emily Mannix.
The deflection queen, the intercept queen. We spoke about pre-game that the Thunderbirds lead and dominate all the defensive stats. Emily Mannix, she's trying to change that tonight. Huge smile, and no surprise that she's leading the Nissen net points with 90. Liz Watson not far behind. What an incredible performance it has been by the Melbourne Vixens so far. They are winning the third quarter by 3, but they are winning the game by 12. HCF tactical timeout. Let's listen in to Tanya Obbs.
So 2 point, 1 point with your movement. We're not on top of one another. Yeah, with our movement, we're doing that. Make sure that you two aren't too far away from one another. We need to chug, 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 and then get these two closer to circle edge, and then get that movement in that circle. Yeah, shits and giggles. Yeah? Yep.
Alright, girls, we're here for each other, alright? We're not just playing as individuals, okay? We're not individuals in this game, we are a team. Think about that in every single play that you do from now on in. Let's go, get out in that tackle, let's go!
That's not full tackle, we have each other back. Last thing's real, we lose it. Let's slow it down. We're going to win it back if we lose it. Alright, let's go. We got this.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Interesting to hear the Thunderbirds talk about they're not individuals, they've got to play as a team.
And I loved hearing Matilda Garrick talk about that tempo shift. Stop trying to play Vixens at their own game. It's not working for you at the moment. Let's go back into your structures. I'll tell you what I am interested to see. The shifts and giggles in the defensive end. I'm looking forward to that. I've got to pick up on that. That was great, Tanya.
Watson to Kawenda. The Vixens cough it up straight to Williams. It is a replay, though. A tough call, Taylor Williams. You can see it on her face. Kawenda back to Mundy. Don't forget, we are in the Power 5. Just 3 minutes to play in the third. 12 goals the difference. Williams doesn't have many options.
We did hear Ob say this is go time for the super shot, so the Thunderbirds have to get in that nice arc and have a crack.
The two talls in attack for the Thunderbirds. Austin for 2. Cardwell just scoops it in, flicks it back on court. But the Vixens, the momentum is their way. Look at that, deflections. 18 for the Melbourne Vixens. And no surprises at all that 6 of those are through Emily Mannix. Two minutes to play.
Vixen started off with that one-on-one, and you can see them doing a bit more of a hands-over offset, sometimes working to that box structure. They've really made the Thunderbirds have to second guess, and then when they get on top of that, they change it again and make them have to work their shapes.
Cardwell, tippy toes along the transversal, the circle. Can't sink it to Mannix, her second rebound. Mundy fires it through to Maloney.
That was nearly a training drill. Go wide, go middle, reset, go again. Someone leads forward, someone's punching long. The Thunderbirds just aren't being able to get into structure.
Kawenda. Her third Suncorp super shot. Thank you very much. This season, more than ever, we've seen her sink plenty of Suncorp super shots. She's not afraid to take them. Austin goes long across court to Maloney. The Vixens outsmarting this Thunderbirds defense. So many passes wherever they feel like putting the ball.
Shall we go for the 2 point? Shall we go for the 1? A little push in the back there from Maloney. She looked shocked, but there was definitely 2 hands.
Just under 30 seconds to play in the third. And the Vixens.
Again coming up, they are just smothering the Thunderbirds. And usually we say Thunderbirds make some really good transition moves and changes and seamlessly into their court play with different plays in different positions. They just haven't got that flexibility today. And when they're making moves, excellent feed over the top of the mess from Watson. They just haven't got that extra movement in their mid-court.
What a confident display from the Melbourne Vixens. It's three-quarter time here at John Cain Arena. It's the Vixens by 17. Now, we know another team from New South Wales, the Giants, a proud cross-code club with their own netball, AFL and AFLW teams. It really is like one big family over at Giant Central. And we got a chance to be on Flight on the Wall. You'll see all the behind-the-scenes action and glimpse into the team on Pivot tomorrow. Don't miss that. We'll be back very soon for the last quarter.
At the Giants, it just feels like a big community, and it's nice to just walk through the gym and say hi to everyone and know familiar faces every day.
Yeah, it's cool. I think we got 3 different programs all working together. Actually see how hard they work, and the attitude towards everything is really positive, and they were really successful last year, so we try and learn off the back of that. And so they've got a really strong culture in their team, and we just try and take little bits out of their program into our program, and hopefully it goes vice versa.
Curious what this 15 minutes looks like. What are you going to show? What are you going to show each other? What are you going to show this competition? What does it look like as us, as the Thunderbirds in this situation? Okay, you know what you have to do. We've seen it. Now we need to repeat it in this last 15 minutes.
Last week, girls, we had an incredible last quarter. Lift you up, let's get confidence of everything, okay? That noise, I don't want to be able to hear the crowd. I want to be able to hear every single one.
That's quarter time brought to you by Origin Energy. A very curious Tanya Obbs, wondering how her team will turn it around. It's a 17-goal lead to the Melbourne Vixens.
But it's a good point to make from Coach Tanya Obbs. You know, Thunderbirds haven't found themselves in the position. So what are they going to do? And we heard Shamira Sterling say we need to start by getting game ball, and it's about this conversion.
And if they miss a shot, they're going to rebound it. So tick, Shamira Sterling did this, but another lost possession for the Thunderbirds. Mundy. Across to Austin, back to Watson. No pressure on Kira Austin whatsoever. Weston sneaks in, disrupts the centre pass. And the Vixens are back into attack.
You can just see here the Thunderbirds in constant chase mode. There's not a lot of dictating as to pushing them to the sides. It's just reacting. Vixens are running where they want, when they want, and it's just all chasing from behind.
Watson just kept it in. It was a huge ball for her to try and control. And the Thunderbirds, what can they do? Horger swings across, back into that goal attack position. Lets it bounce, steadies it up. Her 7th goal for the game. Still 17 goals, the difference.
And this is just where the Vixens are going to definitely show their experience. It's all about converting your centre pass. You don't have to do anything fancy. Keep it low. And I briefly spoke about Shamira Sterling at the start of the game. I think she's been really composed, not showing too much of this emotion, but you can tell that she hasn't been able to be her explosive, impactful self this game.
Certainly something that Shamira Sterling is not used to. You see that contest for the ball. I mean, it did look like she was behind.
I would have given it to her.
Cardwell trying to force her way back into the circle. Look at the physicality between Mannix and Cardwell.
Another fall to the floor for Weston on that shoulder.
It was an obvious push and shove from Eleanor Cardwell. The frustration is creeping in. 18 goals.
You see her more doing that holding, that screening position where she's having to actually do more of the sweeping and the running out the front.
On our Upshot series that was on centre circle last week, Eleanor Cardwell spoke through that screen, but also mentioned you can't have your arms up pushing. You've got to really have your arms down. Wilson, back to Sterling.
Sloppy errors here from the Vixens. They'll want to make sure that they don't just take the foot off. This is a time when you've got this lead to show the competition that you mean business, and when it comes to finals, whether you're down by a lot or up by a lot, you know how to win the game.
$30 goals in total for the Thunderbirds so far this game. Horges makes it 31. You often expect to see that kind of score, 31 and a half, for a Suncorp Super Netball team.
And that's what Thunderbirds are used to. That was interesting, Eleanor Cardwell.
Smart play from Eleanor Cardwell. She knew she had to let the ball go. She had to stand up before she let the ball go. She means business.
It's really going to come down to both of these shooters to go nuts in the super shot for this team to have any chance. Because Vixens are just willing and prepared to take the pace off the game, just own their centre pass.
Had to stand up before she released the ball in that Harvey Norman replay.
She's read her rule books. It's good to know.
Norma Plummer always used to say that, the former Diamonds coach. You're a 99% better player if you know the rules. Kira Austin continuing her form from the last few weeks. Putting her hand up for the Aussie Diamonds when it comes to the World Cup selection in a couple of weeks. Cardwell also just been named in the English Roses side for the World Cup.
Bianca, if you're the Vixens, would you be making a change? I mean, you've got the lead, but do you just want to know that this team can ride it out all the way to the end? They've done all the hard work so far. Or do you make any changes and maybe instill a bit of a win-win culture for the team? We all get on, we all get a really good win, and we're feeling good at this point of the season.
Yeah, it is a tough one, I think. But for the Vixens last week, knowing that they couldn't finish off the game the way they started and the lead they built, I think Simone McInnes will be wanting to, especially for this next 5 minutes, wanting to make sure that the Vixens continue to put their foot down. Cardwell, strong attack. Wants the ball back. Really taking Mannix on now. Look at the movement from those two players.
Even in the fourth quarter, they're still moving around. They're moving that footwork.
That's what you want to see. You want to see everyone out on court contesting. And if we look at the Super Netball live ladder, currently the Vixens will move into second position.
It's a great contest there by Liz Watson. Contested cleanly, and put the pressure on Nankivell to take the ball, and she just got a little bit fumbly and it went out on the baseline. You can see here on the Harvey Norman replay, up in the air contesting. And that's the pressure you want to put. You want to be in the contest, build the pressure, put it on the opposition.
Mundy tries to go over to Austin. Sterling interrupts it. Kumwenda to Watson, and they find Austin. We've seen that work so often for the Vixens tonight.
Kumwenda, we spoke about her in round 5 not having that much volume. She hasn't had much more than in today's game either, but it's the role she's playing in keeping Sterling active. Guessing, is she going to take the ball? Is she? And she's brought Austin into the play today really well. So a pretty good game from her. It's been a bit sacrificial on what she would usually contribute to the team, but just shows she's got another role in string up her bow.
Let's go across to Caitlin. The Vixens keep extending their lead.
Yeah, that's right, and it's great to see, but we saw them have an 11-goal lead against the Lightning last week, which they frittered away very, very quickly. I have no doubt in their minds they are concentrating on keeping this lead, and not just keeping it, but continuing to push it out, which is really dangerous for the Thunderbirds.
It sure is, as they're creeping further and further away. Wilson to Nankivell, across court to Williams.
The Vixens working that box defence, the split circle in the circle, up in the air. Mannix, here she goes again.
She's had a quiet couple of minutes, Emily Maddix, compared to the rest of the game.
She's like, I haven't heard my name from the sideline, ladies. I'll bring it back into the mix. Here she goes.
Our Harvey Norman replay. Don't forget about me, says Emily Maddix. Cardwell, too much on it. Weston scoops up the rebound.
Flying down the court here for the Vixens. Prepared to still let the ball go with speed. Mundy, I think that shift in the mid-court has been great. It's just another opportunity for her to start, feel the pressure, and be able to execute. Oh, great drive to the top of the circle.
Kumwenda flicks it out to Mundy, back to Austin. Austin often finding herself on her own. Up over to Kumwenda.
And at times we say that the Vixens are quite predictable, their possession netball, but today they've shown that they can play with speed, pace, and obviously that tempo change, and they've even got that versatility to put those different combinations out when they really need it.
A spectacular 20-goal lead to the Melbourne Vixens. We haven't even hit the power 5. No doubt, even though she's not showing it right now, Simone McInnes, the coach of the Vixens, on your screen, she will be very happy with the performance so far. It does feel like a bit of a training run at the moment for the Vixens. Not what we were expecting pre-game.
As I said, the Thunderbirds have just been in chase mode. They haven't been able to connect with each other, working in isolation. And it's a credit to the Vixens. They've obviously done their homework. They would have been embarrassed with round 5 and going, that's just not what we can deliver week in, week out.
Now we have to remind everybody, the Thunderbirds, sitting on top of the ladder, they are missing Tipper Dwan, who has had a great season for them at goal attack. Adds another layer of versatility for them in their shooting end. And of course, their captain, Hannah Petty, out with a quad injury. Both of those players hoping to return next week. Williams to Cardwell. Gorgeous. She'll get another go for 2. This time, she sinks it.
On her 3rd attempt for that super shot. She's going to have to sink a few more than just that solo one. And the Vixens, they've owned their 5 minutes of every quarter. Are they going to continue to build, or are they going to chip away and just focus on the ones?
Kumwenda wants a safer option, goes to Mundy. Austin from range to back to Mundy. And they got what they wanted. For 2, Kira Austin.
She's like, I can do this with 3 minutes to go. It's not on the siren. Anytime's a good time for Kira Austin to shoot a 2-pointer.
In round 5, the Vixens lost to the Thunderbirds by 11. It was a feisty game. There was so much in it, but it was a real defeat. The Vixens had no answers. They show up in round 10. They're winning by 20 goals. Cardwell can't sink it. Nothing is falling the Thunderbirds' way.
All the little 50-50s that usually you might get a couple in a game, they have not fallen for the Thunderbirds at all. But I do put that down to not being able to be proactive in their game plan, actually injecting that energy that they're so known for, or we've seen in the previous weeks. They've been flat-footed, chasing from behind in both attack and defence.
Under 2.5 minutes in the game. Composed, Kira Austin.
Bubbles around and straight in for another super shot.
Doesn't flinch at all. That's 5 Suncorp super shots for Kira Austin. And another 2 to the Vixens. Another 1. They can't sink it. Sterling, long to Wilson. The Thunderbirds are lacking options.
Struggling to transition from defence to attack. There's just not that link. And I think that's because Georgie Horges, we usually see her that link in that wing attack position, having to then get into the circle, do the shooting. We spoke about in the first quarter, she was doing a lot of work. And now it's that fourth quarter, you just can't continue to do it when the pressure from the Vixens has been exceptional in defence.
We look at our miss and net points. Emily Mannix, 125. That is a record for her. Horges for 2. Cardwell manages to finish it off. 39 goals for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Haven't even cracked the 40.
Shamira Sterling trying to give them another opportunity. As Joe Weston comes on and Kate Eddy comes on just for a nice little 52-second burst in the final quarter.
We did see Joe Weston go down just behind play before. She seems okay, but probably just a safety measure to take her off the court. 20 goals the difference, 21 the difference.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the Thunderbirds being premiership contenders. Well, the Vixens today have said, do not forget about us. We were there, runners-up last year. It's going to be in Melbourne. We want to be there. We want to book a ticket.
20 seconds on the clock. 21 goals the difference. The Vixens lost the first quarter and have dominated ever since. They want to get on with it. They want another one. 3 seconds. Listen to the crowd here at John Cain Arena. They have absolutely loved what they've seen. And the dominance that the Melbourne Vixens have at home, no one has been able to beat them at home this season. And that continues. Not even the top of the table Adelaide Thunderbirds could disrupt their winning streak here at John Cain Arena.
They were suffocating the Melbourne Vixens to the Thunderbirds' attack, only scoring 8 in the second quarter, 7 in the third and 10 in the fourth for the Thunderbirds. Not enough volume there. But the Vixens, so impressive, showing multiple combinations that they can put out at any moment, just adding extra bits to their game to know that when they're getting those moments, they know exactly what they need to execute and do.
It's a Melbourne Vixens team that probably haven't shown their best all season. We've seen it at times, but not consistently across whole games. And they're shooting in, Kumwenda and Austin, giving each other a bit of a high five. Well done. They've got it done. 85.2%.
It's probably not even at that high shooting accuracy that the Vixens are used to and would love to.
And look at these two now. Let's go to Caitlin Bassett.
I'm here with Mega D, or Emily Mannix, as she is better known. Congratulations, MVP performance. You were incredible out there. How good did it feel to get this win, not just by 1 goal today, but by a whopping 21 goals?
Finally, I'm sick of these 1 goal, either wins or losses. Really proud of that performance, but we knew that Thunderbirds have been the team to beat all season, and we knew we came out and really put it to them. We felt like the pressure may have been on them a little bit. We had, we're pushing for that top position as well. So went out there, gave it our all, and I'm really proud with everyone out there. Like individually, I thought we all did really well.
The dominance of Elle Cardwell coming into this game was huge. How did you prepare for that in this match, and what was really your key focus out there?
I think not getting stuck on her body. We see how well she uses, as you know, the push-off back in your time. No. But I think for me it's about getting off the body, and they mixed up with Lucy in there. Probably took a little bit for me to adjust on Lucy when she first came on, so credit to her. But yeah, you just can't get stuck on someone like Eleanor because she uses it her body so well, and she's dominant for them in that shooting circle.
For other athletes out there, not just netballers, who have such a tight competition with another component in their team, you and Liv Lewis, it's absolutely incredible how hard you compete for that spot, but mentally when you get out there perform, how hard is that?
No, I think it's an interesting dynamic. I don't think you see often 2 goalkeepers in a team that can come on and play different roles, I guess. Almost 2 starting goalkeepers. I was going to say goal shooters, I'm not a goal shooter. But I thought, for us to be able to both play that role at different times is really critical to us. And going forward as well, we see lots of tall shooters. I think Liv plays really well again, and I can
sometimes take the more zippier ones, but it's great that we have that versatility, and we see that all across the court at Vixens as well. We've got lots of different players that can play all different positions.
You've got Swifties next. They pipped you by 1 goal last time in round 6. What do you need to do to get that win?
Yeah, we were it was a weird game. We were up by most of the game, and then we, lost in the end by 1 goal. So I think for us, it's about putting out a 4-quarter performance, which I think we're building on. But they're in some real red-hot form as the Swifts. So, gee, I'm full of it today, aren't I? That's shocking. Don't interview me again. Yeah, look, they're in form, so we're going to have to go out there and do another 4-quarter performance, see how we go.
I'm sure I will interview you again because I know you've got some more MVP performances coming, but congratulations on today and good luck for next week.
Thanks, Vass.
What an incredible performance.
You got to love her. She's a fan favourite. I want her to interview her every week.
Just keeps it so real. Maddie, let's take a look at the match summary. We see the Vixens there. They've got the Swifts, the Thunderbirds, then the Magpies. Let's take a look at the match summary. What really stood out to you with both of these teams? Gosh, it was such a dominant performance.
I mean, we spoke about how dominant Emily Mannix was, but 26 games to the Vixens compared to 16 for the Thunderbirds. Last week, the Vixens only got 11, so they have absolutely smashed that out of the ballpark. For me, even the turnovers very consistent and even, 50-50 in time in possession, which is quite interesting. But another thing is you talk about the contacts. Vixens usually quite, get into play or out of play a little bit more, where Emily Mannix was only 8 contacts. So really disciplined approach in their defensive pressure today. And I think that's just going to send a message to the entire competition that we're here to win.
And now this is how the ladder stands at the end of our Saturday netball. Melbourne Vixens up into second position, but don't forget there are plenty of games to play out. We've got 2 more for you coming up tomorrow. It's a huge win for the Vixens. They've beaten the Thunderbirds by 21 goals. And don't forget, like we mentioned, Sunday netball here on Fox Netball. It's the Swifts and the Magpies. The Swifts get to host this one. The Magpies plenty to prove out there on court, wanting to go out there and enjoy the game. And of course, the Fever and the Thunderbirds. That will be happening. Don't go anywhere. We've got our post-game show coming up right here on Fox Netball. Welcome back to John Cain Arena. What a win for the Melbourne Vixens. It was a top 4 clash. The Adelaide Thunderbirds sitting on top of the ladder. They came to John Cain Arena, a place where the Vixens haven't lost a game this season, and they couldn't get close to the mighty Melbourne Vixens. It was a 21-goal win. Simone McInnes, their coach, is joining us. You must be pretty wrapped with that.
I am wrapped, absolutely wrapped. Wouldn't have expected that prior to the game, but I think it was a bit shaky the start, but we found our composure, and I thought there was some of our best ball movement and play this year.
You would have been impressed the fact that, you got a lead out and then you were able to continue to punch on and push ahead. Last week we saw that, and you looked a little bit frustrated at the end, Simone. Not like you.
I know. Well, it was. We did let Lightning back into the game last weekend. So, and I think it is important to be able to chase down leads, but to be able to push on and take a game out of an opponent's hands. I think that's really valuable, and I think we did that super well. So I'm really pleased.
When we talk about the performance of Emily Mannix, of course, the player of the match, but, you started with Olivia Lewis the last couple of weeks. Mannix got the start last week. You must be really impressed with how she's really come into her form right now when you need her.
Oh, look what a couple of weeks rest did for her.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think I said it last week. She's just such a good team person, as is Liv. They know, they play their role when they need to play their role, but to come on in the last couple of weeks and play the way that she has, and she's so humble, she says they keep throwing me the ball. I'm like, no. She's working really hard, and it's been, super to see.
You talk about that healthy competition, you've pretty much got it across the board. We see Monday even start today. Talk us through that shift in the centre court, because we haven't seen it a lot, but is it just trying to give experience and see what else you've got up your sleeve?
Look, it's part of that. Hannah hasn't been on for the court for a little while, but she's a powerhouse, and that strength and her ability to get depth and keep moving and let the ball go. And then, with Kate having that drive through the mid-court and attack. So, it was an opportunity to get that out there and to get it out there against a team like the Thunderbirds. And Hannah did fantastically. It was sensational.
When we talk about your attack, Kira Austin and Kumwenda, we know in round 5 they did struggle up against this mighty defence of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, but they kept them so quiet tonight.
That's right. I think they were smart with the ball. It starts with the ball movement down court and just keeping it going, not hanging on to it, no hesitation. The last thing you want is hesitation against a defence like that. But they worked it with speed, ball movement, and kept it down low.
Yeah, it was really unpredictable. You had 2 people coming in to feed. In round 5, you talked about you didn't have a lot of that deceptive attacking ball, like not a lot of balks, where today you just had options all over the court. It sometimes looked like a little bit of a Vixens training run, like setting up into the middle, having lots of options. You must have been impressed with that.
Really impressed. It is something that we were working on, having those options, and it's like reading off each other, getting that staggered timing, using the balk and deception on the ball. So I hope they felt good out there as well, because that's important.
Did it feel good, Simone, not to have to wait till that last couple of seconds of the game and Kira Austin to nail a super shot to get the win?
It did feel good, but you know what? I always just sit there anyway. It's just like, with the super shot, you just like, oh, you dread it. I was wrapped. Glad it wasn't down to 1 goal, but really happy with that performance across the board and people playing their role out there on court.
Well, speaking of Kira Austin, let's get across to Caitlin Bassett.
Kira, normally you play more of a feeding or the fans do love you. But today you were the dominant shooter in that circle with Kumwenda. You actually shot more goals from her. Was that the plan?
Definitely not. I think what I love about MJ and I is that we do share the load. We're happy to put the goals up. And we just wanted to really protect ourselves in the circle. Obviously, Shamira is such a threat, and so is Tilly. But definitely not the plan, but stoked to have put up just as much as her.
And let's talk about your mate on the line, Hannah Mundy. How great is it playing with her? You had some really nice speedy passages in that attacking end today.
Yeah, I love playing with Hannah. She's super fast. She knows what I'm going to get first phase, and she just turns and goes. And I think I was really focusing on quick turn and just release the ball. And I think we did that really well. And yeah, really happy that she got out there and had a ripper game as well.
Next week, you've got the Swifts. They beat you by 1 goal last time. You guys are used to these 1-goal finishes now, though. What do you need to do? You're back here at John Cain Arena. You guys have got some pretty great momentum going.
Yeah, we're back here at John Cain Arena. I think the Swifts will be a really great game. They've been playing some really good netball. They've also been closing out some really good games as well. So I think it'll be a game of really clinical netball. It was quite like that the last time we played, but hopefully, actually, definitely we'll pip them at the post next time.
I love it. Well, good luck. And we'll see you guys next week cheering for the Vixens. Yeah!
Caitlin Bassett getting everyone up and about for next week's clash. Now, Simone, just before we let you go, we'll touch on the Vixens' defence. We saw Jo Weston leave the court, came back with her shoulder strap back on the court. How's she going?
She's good. She came up really precautionary, but I think when she came back on really well and finished out that game super well. So she's good.
And then you're up against the Swifts next week.
Yeah.
You've got the Sergeant McInnes Cup. That's the most important thing about the win.
It is. It is, and we have it at the moment, but it depends on this game. And look, I know that we've got a really strong crowd here next week. I think it's pretty much almost sold out. It's always a great contest, Swifts and Vixens, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a big one, but we'll enjoy this moment and then get ready to go again next weekend.
Thank you so much for joining us, Simone. We really do appreciate it. All the best for the rest of the season. We can't wait to be here in front of a home crowd next week. Mads, I want to talk to you firstly too about the Vixens and the dominant performance. How much did they need that?
Oh, I think the Vixens, as we've seen, they've closed out those close ones, but we even heard Simone say, getting that confidence to be able to push ahead, to put the foot on the throttle, to make sure that they know how to close out games. I think the best part about it is they did it with totally different lineups on different combinations. They talk about that healthy competition inside, and we know that when teams are looking in good premiership contention, it's because they're having to fight for that bib and fight for that position every single week. So I think it's a really good sign for the Vixens that they're starting to come into that clinical best that they're known for at this point in the season.
Well, from one coach to another, let's go down to Caitlin Bassett.
I'm here with Tanya Ubbs, coach of the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Tough loss today. You were without 2 of your main players. Tell me, do you think that affected things?
Oh, look, I don't want to make excuses, but I think there's no doubt when you take out our captain and our goal attack, it obviously alters, how we go about things. And, well done to the Vixens. They were pretty clinical when they got a sniff, and they went on with it, obviously, and got the win. So well done to them.
A positive, I guess, is this isn't finals. It's better to have this game before you come to finals. If you were to play this game later on, how will you stem goals when it's starting to blow out to 8, 9, 17, things like that?
Yeah, and that, that's the challenge that I put to the group at half time about what that second half is going to look like. And, we weren't really able to get the any kind of scoreboard pressure after quarter time on there. So that'll be something that we'll certainly have a think about and reassess. And hopefully don't let it happen next time, but be ready for if that does eventuate.
There were some positives in the game today. From your perspective, what were them?
Look, I think the ability, our flexibility to put out, Horges into goal attack. I thought Taylor Williams did a pretty good job in the centre there. Look, we did win probably a lot of ball like we normally do, but we were probably not very clinical through our transition in the early part of that, which then made it really clunky and gave the Vixens defenders an opportunity to come through once it got further down the court. So some good things, but certainly some stuff that we need to tidy up.
And no time to dwell. You've got Fever next week back at home. You beat them by 1 goal last time. Man, that must have felt good. What are you going to have to do to get that result again?
Yeah, look, that seems a long time ago, but it was pretty special, that win over there. And, we'll just go back to the drawing board. I think we'll have a bit of look at what they do this weekend, have a look at what we did last time and tidy up some stuff this week.
And hopefully have those 2 main players back for you.
Yeah, hopefully they will. They're pretty close this week, so hopefully they should be back next week.
Well, good luck for next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Caitlin. Well, Maddie, you did talk about the attack of the Thunderbirds. Tipper Dwan was missing, Hannah Petty was missing. How much of a difference do you think those 2 players make in terms of when we, look at the attack tonight?
Well, it just shifted, as she said. It shifted someone like a Horges, obviously, into the goal attack position, which he did really, really well, but it looked like there was disconnect between certain combinations out on court. That feed wasn't going in as strong. That hold and that placement on the ball just wasn't being executed consistently enough, which gave the Vixens defenders plenty of opportunity to get that ball back. They tried different things. You can't question that they didn't try and maybe find those holes that they were missing, but today one thing just led from poor form to another mistake for the Thunderbirds, unfortunately, and you find yourself you get into that quicksand sometimes, and the harder you try, the harder it feels. So
yes,
unfortunately for them, it just wasn't their day.
It did look like that. When we look at the Thunderbirds defenders, we know they dominate all the time, but even though Tanya said they got enough ball, it just wasn't the way that we're used to seeing them really dominate a game, and it's the energy that they have as well.
It was just that the fact that they got tips and taps and stuff like that, but that she talked about that conversion and that transition. They looked like they were hesitant with the ball in hand, those defenders. They didn't have that punch up the middle like we usually see Horges because she was out of position. So there was just, as I said, people looked a bit lost. They were playing in isolation. We just didn't see that really dominant unit defensive work from the Thunderbirds. So they just looked like they were smothered, really, and didn't have any access to the ball.
Well, it is going to be a tough week, I think, on the training track for the Adelaide Thunderbirds when they come up against, obviously, the West Coast Fever next week. And then it's the Swifts and the Vixens next week. My goodness, what 2 brilliant games. Well, the Vixens really did bring their best to the court today, and Woolworths met with our SSN stars off court to find out how well they know their fruit and veg. Take a look at how they got on and be sure to get involved.
Welcome to the Woolies Pick Fresh, Play Fresh game. Buzzer beater question. When is the best time to eat a meal before your netball game? Joe Weston.
Ruth? An hour. Yeah, okay. We've locked in an hour before.
Okay. Eating a meal 1.5 to 2 hours.
That's what we were going to say.
Test your knowledge on the Woolworths Pick Fresh, Play Fresh hub for your chance to win great prizes.
Well, the fortress remains here at John Cain Arena. The Melbourne Vixens had a huge win over top of the table Adelaide Thunderbirds. A huge win by 21 goals. The player of the match, Emily Mannix, on your screen. And of course, it's play for BCNA, the charity partner of the Melbourne Vixens. They would be very proud of their performance. It was a sea of pink here in John Cain Arena before. It is now an empty stadium as we continue to wrap up the game. Katie, I want to come to you first because what did you make of the performance of the Melbourne Vixens?
Well, look, in the first 5 minutes, I thought I want to change my tip because they were just so slow out of the box and Thunderbirds were so clinical, but they really changed that momentum. That second quarter they built and then they they just kept pushing at that lead. And when you get out and you get out good, it is really hard to reel that back in.
And you spoke about Kumwenda at the start of the game. What did you say she had to score?
Well, she shot 22 goals last time that she played against Sterling. We said that wasn't enough. This week she shot 21 goals and they managed to win. So
well, 21, she's the difference. That's
exactly.
it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Kira Austin and the role that she played. And I talked to her afterwards and I said, was that the goal that you were kind of the go-to shooter? And she said, no, it just happened that way. So really nice to see that combination build out on court and a different shooter stand up and take the lead.
I think that's great for the Vixens, though, because we talk about how predictable they sometimes can be. Is that possession game, it can sometimes be a little bit boring at times, but, you know, for them to be able to know that Kumwenda can shoot a small amount but still play a really good role for their team puts them in really good stead.
It sure does. Let's take a look at the results from the weekend so far. We've had 2 games so far. On Saturday it was the Giants with a 6-goal win over the Sunshine Coast Lightning, a 21-goal win, of course, the Melbourne Vixens over the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Now coming up, we have the Swifts and the Magpies and the West Coast Fever and the Firebirds. Maddie, I'm going to come to you first about this clash. It is the Swifts and the Magpies. It's been a big, big week for the Magpies off the court.
Well, it has, and you know, in round 1 they played the Swifts and they actually got the W. So they know that they can make some really good performances, but huge week for the Magpies. They're going to have to try and bring out some of that energy, some of that pride to get a win. But yeah, whether it's going to be a bit too much for them, I don't know. The Swifts are in some red hot form, and I know a win against the Fever last week, another dying 1-point shot. So,
well, how distracting is the off-court stuff happening for Collingwood leading into this game?
I think there's a lot. I mean, obviously it was distraction in round 2 when they had that centre pass debacle kind of thing. So this is a lot because it's not just their contracts, it's also their careers, and there'd be a lot of head noise in those individual players and not a lot of certainty. So it's going to be hard for them, but I'm sure if they've only got 5 games left, they want to make the most of it.
And if we turn our attention to the Fever and the Firebirds, look, Fever lost by just 1 goal to the Swifts at home. It was such a tight match. They didn't have Glasgow or Anstis, 2 of their main players in their team, so they're going to have them back, and I think that'll make a real difference. But for Firebirds, they won't have Gabby Simpson. You know, I think this is the first time in over a decade I can remember her not lining up for that team, so that's going to be different. And, you know, they had a tough loss against the Thunderbirds last week, so they're going to be looking to bounce back as well.
And don't forget, coming up after tomorrow's action, we'll have Pivot to wrap up all the weekend's netball results, and also Cara Conan. We know she did get injured in the Lightning game against the Giants, but hopefully she will be on the couch as well. Thank you to all the Fox Netball team. Thank you to you for watching. What a massive win by the Melbourne Vixens, a 21-goal win. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow right here on Fox Netball.